If you've been wondering how to open a business bank account, this is the video for you. But first of all, congratulations for launching that business. I'm proud of you for finally setting up your operations. But now is the next critical step, opening a dedicated business bank account. In this video, I'm going to use ABSA and FNB as examples, but almost every single bank needs almost the same documents. So let's get into it. So in the previous few videos, I've talked about how to register your business, how to manage a business and so on. But then, haven't really talked about how to open a business bank account, and this is the video right here. But before we get into it, I just want to present a few cases to you. And that's financial management. To effectively manage your finances, you need a couple of accounts, right? The basics really are an expense account, a profit account, an operations account that you use daily, a tax account because taxes have to be paid. If you want to take it any further, you can even have a salary account where you pay your employees from, but that can also be just in the expense account. The worst thing that you can ever do as a business owner is to mix up all your money. You don't know where your profit is, you don't know where your taxes are, you don't know where your expenses are. Everything is just coming out from one account. That can really be hard to manage, and that can be really hard to track exactly how the business is growing. So if you want to take your business to the next level, you need a couple of different accounts. Don't just open one. If you want me to get deeper into how all these accounts work together, comment below. But to open a business bank account here in Zambia is very important. First, some businesses won't pay you, especially if you're a limited company. They won't pay you if the business account is not in the name of the entity that gave them the quotation or the invoice. So let's say Rubicon Ventures is my company. Imagine I'm Rubicon Ventures. I did business with you as that big business. Then I invoice you, give you the invoice. Maybe I can even use Smart Invoice from ZRA. I use Smart Invoice, give you that invoice, and in that invoice there is Rubicon Ventures details, right? Then when it comes time to pay me, I want them to send them in my account, in the Mbili Mwanza account. For certain businesses that won't fly. They need to send the money to the exact entity that gave them the invoice. So unfortunately, you have no choice. You have to learn how to open a business bank account. So in the past few videos, I talked about the different types of business. I talked about sole proprietorships. I talked about partnerships. I talked about limited companies. I didn't talk about trusts, societies, and so on, and clubs. I didn't talk about all that. But I'm just going to give you the documents that I needed for all these things. So for sole proprietor, I told you it's about one person. The person carries all the risk, carries all the profit and everything. I advise that in Zambia, this is not the best business to open, especially if you're going to be dealing with other businesses. The partnership is almost all the same, except risk is shared among the partners. What I advised was a limited company, but I'm going to give you what is needed for a sole proprietorship, because it also needs a business bank account, right? The first thing that you need is a certified certificate of incorporation from PACRA. Then you need a TPIN certificate from ZRA. You also need a quality company profile. Now, we do company profiles, we design company profiles and so on, but you don't need something that is so beautiful unless you are an elite business owner. You want everything to be done so well. Even a summarized thing can also be good. You can just do the basic components of a company profile, and then you can send to the bank and they'll be able to process that for you, right? But they need a company profile. They then need, if you're a partnership, they need copies of all the partners. If you're just a sole proprietor, they need your NRC. So they need NRCs of all the people that are involved in here. Then they will need passport size photos. Then they also need proof of residence. Now, if you don't have proof of residence, you can always get an affidavit, either from the court or the commission of oaths. They will write a letter of something, you'll be able to sign, stamp it. That is the thing that can work for the bank in place of proof of residence if you don't have a utility bill that is in your name and things like that, right? Then you need a board resolution. Now the board resolution is just gonna say, us as a board, we talked about we are going to anoint you as our bank and we're going to be using you, whatever. Just talk about what you as a board resolved. You're going to need a board resolution letter. Then if you're a partner, you're going to need that partnership deed. But if you're just a sole proprietor, you're going to need that registration form. In short, we call it the Form 3. Then you're going to need printed PACRA copies. Those cost about 150. Is it 160? I think they cost about 160 on PACRA. You just pay that 160. They're going to send you that to your email, or you can download them from the PACRA portal, right? So for your sole proprietorship or a partnership, if you have all these gathered, you're well and good. Then for clubs, societies, charities, trusts, and so on, you're going to need the following. The same thing from PACRA: certified certificate of registration or certificate of incorporation. Then you're going to need an official letter about the organization requesting to open an account. Then you're going to need the organizational constitution. Then you're going to need the organizational profile. You're going to need the trustees and members list, certified copies of NRCs or passports of all the members. Then you're going to need the board resolution signed by 2 directors, and also the certified tax certificate. Once you have all this, you're good to go. Your trust, club, society, and so on can then get a business bank account. Moving on, a private limited company. What I emphasize and advise that all business owners get, because you don't get the risk, the risk falls on the entity itself because it's its own living, breathing entity, right? So for this, certificate of incorporation, certificate of share capital, you're gonna need certified articles of association. Now, if you don't know how to get your articles of association, it's there on the PACRA website. When you just go on the PACRA website, there's a thing called downloads. So on downloads, you're just gonna download the articles of association, then you're just gonna change. They have a template, right? You're gonna put your own logo, then you're gonna put the title of the organization on that articles of association. Then there's a few things that you need to sign inside there and get stamped. Once all that is done, the stamping is of course done at PACRA. You need to go at PACRA so that they can be able to stamp your articles of association. Once those are stamped, they're good to go, they are legal, you can be able to submit them at the bank. You're gonna need a company profile. You can't escape from a company profile. You need a company profile to open a business bank account. Not forgetting ZRA, you're gonna need that TPIN certificate. Then you're gonna need certified copies of the NRCs of all directors. Then you're gonna need passport size photos of all the directors. Then you're gonna need the board resolution, or you're gonna need the letter that is addressed to the bank that you are requesting to open a bank account as an organization. Then you're gonna need a copy of Form 2, Form 5, Form 11, or a copy of the Form 3. Then proof of residence, of course, you can't escape from proof of residence. You need that. Like I said before, if you don't have a proof of residence, you can always get an affidavit from either the court or the Commission of Oaths, and that can also pass as one of those proof of residence. Right? Then you're going to need that board resolution. Once you have all these gathered, you're good to go. Now, these documents are common with both ABSA and FNB, but for me personally, FNB was faster to process everything. I ended up just giving up on the ABSA account. Up to now, it's not even open, right? But if you are patient and can be able to wait for ABSA to do their thing because they're a bit slow in my opinion, you can also use ABSA. With ABSA and FNB, their accounts can be opened digitally, right? You can be able to fill in all these things, have them scanned, send them to the bank. They can be able to process and open all that, right? They are very much technologically advanced. But for a bank like ZICB, they just need you to be there physically. They need you to print out all these documents and be able to bring them in physically. You sign physically. You just have to be there. You can open this if, let's say, you are from abroad and things like that and want to open a bank account here in Zambia. With FNB, that's possible, but with ZICB, unfortunately, that's not possible. So now that you are fully equipped to be able to open a business bank account, kindly take financial management very seriously, especially that tax account. That tax account will get you in problems, right? If you get the money that was meant for ZRA, you mix it up in your business and somehow it does not come out, that will just get your business to have liabilities. Whether you might know or might not know, when you're doing B2B business, they always need that TCC to be clear for them to be able to do business with you, because tax revolves around, right? Especially VAT. There's input VAT and output VAT, right? So if you charge them VAT, they're going to claim it at ZRA. Now, if your TCC is not active, unfortunately, they cannot claim that VAT. So you're going to be getting them down. You're going to be getting their taxes down. So that's why they need that TCC clear. We're talking about the tax clearance certificate. It needs to be clean and clear. So financial management is what is going to get you out of such messes. Financial management is what is going to get you from failing to pay your workers. If you have that salary account and you've already calculated to say what is needed for me to pay my employees is this and that much, and you're strict and you're able to save up some of the money into that salary account, you won't have any problems with paying your workers. So financial management is very, very, very cardinal. Don't ignore it. So if you found this useful, tell us in the comments. We'd like to hear from you. Share this video to that one guy who you feel like will be able to benefit from all this. That guy who's been struggling about knowing what exactly he needs to be able to open that business bank account, right? Send this video to him. Share the link to him so that he watches this video. So now that you've set up your operations, I know you've been wondering how exactly you can be able to manage a growing team. If that interests you, watch this video.